Okay, I think we'll just start for the sake of time, so that we also respect those who came in early. So welcome everyone. I'm very excited to see you guys here. I'm expecting more people to come in, but as they do that, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Nyarazo Chauruva, a financial coach at heart, of course, an accountant by profession, a mother of two, a wife to one husband. And yeah, today, I think since it's been a Valentine's month, not that I understand much about Valentine's, but it kind of has many things going on about love and all those things. So we're going to at least take on the same and discuss about money for couples, or couples and their money. So without wasting much time, I have a question that I had. Let me just try to hide these. So this is the question. What do you think about splitting a bill when you go out on a date? So it doesn't matter whether it's courtship or it's a marriage, but you've just gone out on a date, maybe you're having drinks and a burger. What do you think about splitting a bill when you go out on a date? And I just want you to type your answers in the chat, unless you are bold enough to just speak up. So I'm going to do this so I can also see the chat. Let me stop sharing. So yes, let's hear. What do you think? What do you think about splitting bills at, at on a date? There's a lady and a gentleman, because I think because I think there's just been that conception. And yes, Valentina is saying the man should pay the bill, especially before marriage. Okay, that's your opinion. And really also because she's married, she knows why she insists before marriage. But why though? Why? Do you want to come in and just explain why should the men pay? And yeah, we have men on this call. Let's hear, what do you think? What do you think about splitting a bill on a date? You and your girlfriend, you and your wife, what do you think? I can't see any. But I would really want to know, because Blantina, it's not only you. I've asked the same question a couple of times, and yes, people are of the opinion that men should pay. And just you said, especially before marriage. I'm not sure about after. Okay.
Well, I think that especially when you're courting, the man is still trying to kind of impress the woman, the lady. So I don't think it would be nice. You're showing you can look after the lady, you can provide.
Right.
So it would, yeah, it's probably best for the men to do that. But however, it's a modern world. Maybe things have changed now, you know. No, we don't know.
It's true, but I do agree with you, because you want to see, is this person really capable of providing when we get married? And sometimes these are really the red flags, isn't it? These are the red flags that you're looking out for when you go out on a date. Is this person so stingy that he won't even take out money? Is it me who's just always paying for these things? So yeah, because I'm not getting any other responses, I will just go ahead and share my screen, then we can continue. Okay, So as I share my screen, I will not be able to see the chat. And so if you need to say anything, you can just unmute and then you speak. So yeah, that was just a question I really wanted to hear the opinions of some. And then I want to share these statistics. I felt they were really staggering. And approximately a third of couples argue about finances at least once a month, right? That's like, wow. 75% of divorces are partially due to money, and specifically not talking about it. Because I think oftentimes we say, I think it's better for me not to even talk about it. I can hear an echo. But so say oftentimes we are like, if I don't talk about it, then it will just die a natural death. But right there, the statistics are saying 75% of the divorces are partially due to not talking about money. And then the last one, which is money problems, comes second after infidelity, of course, as the leading cause of divorce in marriages. So really, we cannot underestimate the impact that money has on relationships. So of course, this is talking mainly to the married, but in my presentation today, I'm going to focus on those who are courting or who are still in courtship, and then I'll also talk to those who are married. So don't get disappointed as I start to talk about those in courtship. So yeah, I would have wanted to know on this call how many are in courtship and how many are married. But as I said again, I really won't be able to see when I'm sharing my screen. I can't see the chat. But one thing that is very important when you're during courtship is to learn your partner's money habits. This comes down to what I would call a compatibility check, because I think in throughout courtship, you're trying to see if the two of you are compatible with one another. So you want to see what colors does the other person like, what kind of food does the other person like, what kind of movies does this person like, is he a soccer holic? Is it a shopper holic? You know, you really want to see what kind of a person your partner is and if you're compatible. But one area that seems to rally behind is the one for checking financial compatibility. And this is what I want to focus on this afternoon. So when you are also checking the compatible, I don't know how to say it. If you're compatible, you need to exchange numbers. And I put it here in brackets so that you understand what numbers I'm talking about. Because it's not just the phone number or your WhatsApp number, but now we are talking about the real numbers. We want to know what assets are you bringing into this relationship. So when we talk of assets, really we're saying things that bring income into your life or investments. We want to see those numbers. Debt also, we want to know how much are you owing out there. You know, you don't want to be surprised 3 months down the road, you hear, oh, your other one has 5,000 in debt, and the creditors are calling every night. You're trying to sleep, you're even at your honeymoon, the people are calling, we now want our money. So it's very important that these numbers are brought before you on the table as you discuss. Credit scores, not so big in Zimbabwe, but I'm thinking outside the country where there are more functional economies, you really need to know your credit scores. And credit scores basically kind of determine how much you can borrow, or if you want to buy things on credit. So this, or your credit worthiness, that's what it checks, the credit scores. You also want to know the dependents. So yes, you are in love with this person, but it's not only you. The person is probably looking after younger siblings or children of a deceased sibling, or is still looking after the parents. Maybe the parents do not work. So you need to know those things. You need to know, what am I getting myself into? And this is not to say the lady or the gentleman, but both of you, you just need to know what is the other person bringing into this relationship. And one important thing, guys, the income sources. You need to know, where is your other person getting the money? We've heard of people that had been fraudulently wooed into a relationship because they thought that Mr. Guy is very wealthy. He drives a Porsche, and meanwhile, he's been borrowing. He borrows from the friend, or he's even hiring, So you need to know, and also don't lie about the money that you make. So bring the numbers to the table, very important. And then you also want to talk about your dreams. This is another way that you can bring the conversation of money into your conversations, because remember, we said one of the reasons why people break up in the end is because they are not talking about money. But money, it's such a taboo in most homes. So it's so difficult to even start this conversation. But one easy way to do that is to just talk about your dreams. When a person is dreaming, you can tell that, I have no future here. Or you're just talking, you're like, no, I want to build a house, I want to start a business. Then you see, yeah, I think there's a bit of life in this thing. But when you hear it's just ice cream, we want to be living in happy land, eating ice cream, then you're like, I don't think we're compatible. So these are really things that we need to bring in, into the discussion as you are dating. And another thing which is very important for those in courtship, because the whole idea is to eventually get married, is to agree on how you're going to finance your wedding. Oftentimes you find people borrowing, especially in these developed countries. Again, you find people have access to loans for the wedding. And these days, people are just having these amazing weddings. You would really wonder where this is all happening. And if you're from Zimbabwe, again, I've seen the Rora days where the lobola is paid, but it's a massive event, and sometimes you want to understand how you're going to finance that. But importantly, never borrow to wed. Never borrow to wed. And lastly, you need to know whether the marriage you're getting into is in or out of community of property. So when we talk of in community of property, we are saying everything that we are buying in our relationship is ours. And when it's out of community of properties, to say what I buy is mine, what you buy is yours. So you just need to be careful and understand the kind of marriage that you're getting into. I'll give an example of the chapter 37. It used to be called chapter 37. Now it's called 511 in Zimbabwe, where people are married out of community of property. And most people don't know this. I, for one, was actually surprised when I learned that my 511 is actually out of community of property. So what that means is, when you buy a house, make sure that both your names are on that thing. And if your name is not there, if you die, then there's no expectation of you getting that, because it's not yours. So yeah, these are the things that we need to understand as we are courting, right? So done with courtship, we move on to marriage. And now in marriage, it's really, it's kind of a point of no return, right? We are not compatible. So here now we're saying, let's make things work. Whether you're compatible or not, let's try to make things work, because hey, God does not like divorce, and we do not encourage divorce. So we're saying, you are now married, let's make things work. So to the married couples, we say contribute to the household costs. And what I mean is whether you're earning more money than the other, or you're earning less than the other, or you're not working at all, at least find ways of also bringing something onto the table. You don't want to be always saying, there's no salt in the house, so you have to wait for the one who's working. Please buy salt. Please buy rice. Please buy the vegetables. You also need to be seen to be contributing. It may be very little, but at least make a contribution. Another thing in marriage is transparency. We need to be transparent. That's to say, no secret transaction in marriage, no secret dates. You know how it is when people go behind each other and they start having some unknown transactions, and it's only one day when when things will blow up. I actually had put the story of the son of a prophet. If you look at 2 Kings chapter 4 in the Bible, there's a story of a son of a prophet who died in debt, and he left a big debt. And you know how we know it was very big is because the creditors actually wanted to take his 2 sons as compensation. So in marriage, we need to be transparent. Avoiding debt is always a good thing. But if you are to get into it, agree as a couple. Another issue on transparency is when we give money to our parents when we are married. So if there's no agreement, at least share what you're going to give. If you're going to give to the mother's parents, you give them $50, give the same to the husband's parents. But sometimes you'd find that, no, my mother is poorer, or his father is poorer. Then you can agree that at least let's send more money to the one who doesn't have so many resources. But until you agree, you have to share equally what you give to the parents. Now, in comes the in-laws, and we all grow to love our in-laws, but they can also be a nightmare in marriages because they come, and normally they come to the person that they know. So if, for example, I'm married to Tawanda, my in-laws would be comfortable coming through Tawanda and say, can you please give us some money? Meanwhile, he can choose to do that secretly, and I never get to know about it. But you know how it is when you eventually find out. There will be no peace in that home. So what we're just saying is, let's be transparent. Let us communicate as couples. And then one more thing I just thought I should bring to your attention is the issue of having fun money. Because when you're in marriage, and especially when there are kids, things get a bit more serious. It's the conversations are, there's no food for the kids, there's no clothes for the kids, the school fees for the kids are outstanding. So sometimes you actually lose yourself in all of this. You forget. That's why you find sometimes mothers who don't even fix their hairs because there's just so much going on. They feel it's a waste of money. But we need to allocate some free money to each other in marriages. So for example, we agree that every month the husband gets 100, the wife gets 100. It's up to you what you do with your money. If you want to fix your nails, it's up to you. If you want to buy newspapers and airtime, it's up to you. No one will ask you, but at least let there be room for that, for those free funds. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, so we move on. And now I just wanted to share something with you because I saw this, I'm sharing this link so that you can also go and have a look, lest you think some of the things I'm going to share with you are fake. But yeah, it's called tiethemoneynote.com. And I found this story, which really, I think this was written by a man. And for some reason, I think this is a Zimbabwean man, but let me just read. It says, I am from Africa and my country is one of the poorest in the world. I came to the US for a better life and I make very good money. I have 2 nephews that my brother left behind when him and wife died. I have other siblings but are unable to help because the economic situation is not favorable in Africa. I'm not allowed to help these two orphans or even send $100 to say the least to my family. I'm ready to file for divorce because my heart bleeds for my family. We have been married for over 20 years, and this has always been an issue with helping my family who really need help. If I give them $200, even every 3 months, it means a lot to them. We argue about this every time. Every time I send money, and I can't afford to see my family suffer. They are hardworking, but there are no jobs with 90% unemployment in my country. I'm ready to divorce. You can sense the frustration. And I think to those that are married, you can also understand this guy, that really you're trying to give to your own family, but there's resistance from your spouse or from your partner. And then the whole thing. And what is so worrying is this has been happening for over 20 years. And finally, this person is saying, I'm ready to divorce. You see, we look back at the statistics we shared at the beginning. And then this one, I believe this one is actually from, I think this is a woman. Yes, this is actually a woman, definitely. Says, my husband is doing this to me also for 10 years now. And when someone says also, it means it's happening elsewhere. So it's also happening at the neighbor's houses. My husband is doing the same thing to me also for 10 years now. He gives me so much stress and anxiety because he can't say no to his older siblings. You see the siblings coming in. So for me to help your parents, it's okay. But to support your siblings and their family for years is unbearable. It's like they are getting used to it and they don't want to stop and stand on their own because they know he's there for them all the time. The amounts get bigger and bigger. I'm so tired in understanding their situation, and I don't know if I want to be part of it anymore. I'm so tired and frustrated. Phew. So you see, really we need to take money issues seriously in courtship and in marriage. So in courtship, it's good because we are actually, you say what, cutting the bud in the nip in the bud. But yeah, before things blow out of proportion, we need to fix. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, this is what I wanted to share with you this month. And so I wish that all goes well with you and your money. I wish the first couple is you, where you're really happy about money, no stress. You are so excited about your money. You're not stressing, you're not fighting. You're not fighting over siblings. You're not fighting over in-laws. That is what I wish for you, and not the other one where people are not talking and they have to actually seek a counselor. And so in closing, before we go, I just want to encourage those who have not yet read this book. There is so much to learn from this book, really my life experiences. And also we talk about relationships and money. Not only does it touch on love relationships, but we also talk of how you can deal with your parents, your community, because you remember they say it takes a village to raise a child, and how you can take care of this village and their expectations. So this book is really a must-have. So yeah, this is all I had for today. I see that also our time has run out. Let me stop sharing so that I can see you guys. Yeah. So we've come to the end. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to ask a question. We have 2 more minutes, or to just comment or to share experience before we go. Let's see. Okay. If there's nothing, I hope it was worth your time, and looking forward to having you again next month. And next month, I will really be touching more on in-laws, not just in-laws, but Black tax. So my focus is on Black tax and how we can work around it as Black folks. So thank you so much for joining me today. See you guys later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.